In this video we are going to discuss configuring webhook strategies on Vantage Signals. We will briefly cover the process of creating a webhook and configuring TradingView. We have other explainer videos that cover how to make a webhook, send signals from TradingView, and to receive those signals as an indicator in an algorithm. First we navigate to Channels and select Webhooks and click to add a webhook. Name this whatever you want, this is for your reference only. Once you have created the webhook, copy the URL to your clipboard. In TradingView, I have set up these trend lines to alert, but users can use any alert that sends to webhook to trigger this strategy. I define or edit an alert here by right-clicking on each line and choosing to add or edit the alert. In this case, I want to signal sell every time the price makes it to the top of this channel, so I will set this to alert once per candle bar. I have pasted my webhook URL down here under webhook URL, and I have entered a unique message that will be sent when this alert triggers. I have done the same thing with the bottom trend line, only I send a different message on alert, one that signals by this asset at bottom of channel. I also added one more trend line below the bottom of the channel, to send a sell signal to liquidate this trade in the event channel support breaks down. As mentioned prior, I could go start an algorithm and add a webhook indicator, looking for these messages and then add that algorithm to a strategy, but the webhook strategy is so much more direct and easy if I don't plan on adding any other indicators alongside this indicator. For a webhook strategy, it is configured very similar to our automated strategies. We look for new webhook messages every pulse interval. We can name this strategy whatever we want, this is for personal reference. Now instead of choosing an algorithm, we can select the webhook we created earlier in this video. Once we add a webhook, we need to configure the filter so we know what messages coming from the webhook should trigger an action. Here under Market Conditions, we see a market condition for this webhook now. Here we can enter in the phrase we sent from TradingView to take action. Now if we receive a message over this webhook that has exactly this phrase, we will initiate a market entry and trigger all configured actions. Now, instead of using a trailing stop loss, I am configuring to use this same webhook to exit this strategy. Once again, I can come down here to the market condition and enter the message I expect to see to trigger an exit. We do still have the ability to configure trailing buys and sells on top of these flags. It is important to note that using a TSL and or SL is in place of using a signal to exit. In the case of webhook and TSL both being configured, either could cause an exit signal to occur, neither are dependent on the other. As with all strategies, we can configure exports and social actions. As long as we have configured the social or webhook channels under the channel section, there will be an option to choose them from a drop-down here. You can send validated trade signals with reliability and performance reporting to Discord, Telegram, or Twitter. Additionally, users can send outbound webhooks in either clear text or JSON format and formatted with whatever is needed to work with any platform that accepts webhooks. We can enter a title for the signal that will be displayed with each notification, as well as specific messages regarding entry and exit signaling. The utilities allows us to save this configuration as a template to easily start a new strategy using the same configuration. We didn't discuss the core configuration yet. Here we specify the base currency and asset symbol we want to take action on when this strategy fires off. The base amount is the dollar amount that we want to initiate this action with. The paper wallet starts with $100,000 and then resets to $100,000 if your balance ever drops below $10,000. Reinvest gains will take a percent of your gains and add them to your base value to increase the amount you are investing with the next trade. Anything you do not reinvest becomes realized gains, which we report on a strategy-by-strategy basis. The max loss says that if through a series of trade signals, I have a cumulative loss of this percentage, we should freeze this strategy. This will prevent a bad strategy from accumulating endless loss. Finally, the max invest is the largest size you permit the base value to grow. The base value will never grow over this value. If you have reinvest gains that would push your base over this value, those gains will become realized gains and taken out of rotation. Once we have saved, we see we can start, stop, or liquidate this strategy. We also see a header with some details regarding the current state of this strategy and its gains compared to the natural evolution of the market. On the management tile, we can also see a few pieces of helpful information such as the uptime of this strategy, the current state of the strategy, the number of trades, the average hold times, and the average and total gains. There are also some controls here. We can click the gear to edit the strategy. Webhook strategies do not support back testing at this time. There is also a button for viewing the logs of this strategy, for viewing the results of this strategy in the visual analyzer, to disable this strategy or to delete it altogether. This wraps up our video on configuring webhook strategies. We hope you found this video informative. Please watch more of our explainer videos to power up your abilities on the Vantage Signals platform beyond level 9000.